Early voting opens tomorrow for the March 29th election. So let's get caught up to speed with a few of the things that are on the ballot. We've got Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute with us. Daniel, welcome back. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian, I'm great. How are you?
Doing very well as well. Um, I guess we should start with constitutional amendment number 2 and then hope we can get to the other ones because we know that 2 is probably going to have the biggest effect on our lives.
Absolutely. Big opportunity, big effect. Here are the basics. Constitutional Amendment 2 lowers the maximum rate of income tax allowed in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It would pay off about $2 billion in debt in order to make permanent the teacher pay raise. It doubles the standard deduction for our senior citizens, people 65 and older, and it implements a government growth limit, which will ensure that recurring spending doesn't grow faster than our ability to pay for it, faster than the economy. And it really does what you and I have talked for years now about the Constitution, and it does the right thing by streamlining at least one part, Article 7, of our Constitution to really get us in a place to let our economy hum.
There's some pushback already from some folks, particularly in the religious community, that are worried that they're going to be subject to property taxes in the future. What can you say to dispel their issues?
Yeah, whenever you're doing big things, there's going to be some pushback.
Mm-hmm.
But here are the facts, and I think Julie Emerson has a great piece in the Center Square, Louisiana, yesterday that explains some of this. Here are the facts. If Amendment 2 passes, hoping it does, later this month, nothing will change for churches.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the constitutional language gets even stronger to protect places of worship and personages and seminaries. And all of the details, this is what we've been talking about for years. Our Constitution is riddled with these details that ought to be in statute. The religious exemptions the property tax exemptions for religious institutions moves into statute, and it is protected by a requirement that both chambers of the legislature would have to have a 2/3 vote and the signature of the governor to change anything. That's an incredibly high threshold. Churches, religious institutions, ministries are absolutely protected. There really is nothing to these claims that somehow this is going to lead to the taxation of churches.
Yeah, it should be a red flag when you're reading about it and you see words like could. It's not
That's right.
Could versus will are two completely different things right there. And God, when I was talking about it the other day, I cannot quantify what level of political suicide it would be for the politician who would put that up for a vote to begin with. It's never going to get a 2/3 vote on either side. It's never going to get a governor's signature. But the politician who moves forward to say, "Hey, guys, let's start putting some property tax down on churches," he's done. He's done forever in politics if he whoever steps up and says that is done so.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's sort of an absurd notion, really, probably in most any state, but certainly in Louisiana, to think that there would ever be that kind of support for taxing churches. I mean, it really is. You want to. Then I get it. You want to make laws to outside of the current political reality, but I don't think there's any political reality that we could even fathom today that would lead to that outcome.
There's also a challenge for amendment number 2 in the courts right now. Attorney General Liz Murrill doing her best to work through that. Challenger, no, early voting opens tomorrow. So we just proceed as if, right?
Absolutely. This lawsuit really, look, when you've got something that's popular, this garnered 85% of the legislature's vote. Every single senator from every party voted for this constitutional amendment. So when you're up against that, the thing you do to try to beat it is to create fear and confusion. And that's really what this lawsuit is about. But it is absolutely critical. It's going to be a low turnout election. Mm-hmm. Every vote is going to matter. So it's really important for folks to get out, whether it's early voting starting Saturday or on election day, March 29th, to get out and vote yes for this amendment.
Throughout my adult life, every time we've turned to our state legislature to make any cuts anywhere, anytime a governor's proposed a budget with cuts anywhere, healthcare and higher ed are always in the crosshairs, and, well, that's because constitutionally it had to be. Rewriting of Article 7 Does that open things up to where healthcare and higher ed won't be the only targets in the future?
Absolutely. That is one of the very important sort of procedural, structural things that Amendment 2 will do, is free up these locked up funds in the Constitution. You know, you and I have talked about it, something between 85 and 90% of our $50 billion state budget are locked up, are pre-decided. And that's exactly what happens, is healthcare and higher ed are the ones on the chopping block. So this makes sure our lawmakers that we send to do this actually have the ability to make priority decisions about where to spend our tax money, rather than it being pre-decided before they walk in the door.
That being said, does a rewording or a rewriting of Article 7, does that table the discussion about a constitutional convention?
You know, I hope not. This is probably the biggest chunk of the Constitution that needs work. But what I hope this will do, when we see the success of this, when we see what value it brings to people, to the legislative process, that it encourages the legislature, the people, to have more comfort by looking at other pieces of the Constitution to do the same thing. So the whole Constitution needs work. This is a really big piece of it, an important piece of it. I hope this is just the start of constitutional reform in Louisiana.
We're talking with Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute. Yeah, I know the freeing up to where other departments or other items can get cuts, moving them from constitutionally protected to statute. That's all it took to sell me on this one. And knowing that we're not tabling the discussion on a constitutional convention, but we're buying ourselves a little time to where, you know, you're not going to have a rushed constitutional convention, to be sure. It feels like this is hitting on all cylinders.
I absolutely agree. This is critical. It's exciting that we're finally at a place to do this. A lot of folks have been talking about these ideas for years, for decades. This is a huge moment for Louisiana to finally get it done.
Got to bring up the potential hazard here, Daniel, and that is a lot of what got passed in the last legislative session, which is law now, lowering our income tax down to 3%, bumping up the sales tax a little bit. That is the way it is right now. But I feel like this, without constitutional amendment number 2, our legislature is very limited in what they could do moving forward to continue lowering our income tax.
No question about it. I mean, the risk of failure here, not only does it mean the halting of our progress on continuing to lower and streamline taxes for everyone, which, if this passes, frees up resources to continue to push those rates lower. The other threat here is it doesn't free up resources in that budget to represent priorities, and it doesn't pay off that debt in order to get teacher pay permanent. So we're back to the sort of seesaw and big pendulum swings of budgeting and discussions over teacher pay, and likely means certainly a stoppage of the effort to continue to lower taxes. And it could well lead to higher taxes if they can't get that budget figured out, because of the very reasons you just outlined.
No, 100% it could lead to higher taxes if it doesn't pass, because they've kind of painted themselves into a corner to where we really, really, really need this. The analogy I've been making, Daniel, is that we're off and running. We're driving down the interstate right now. Voting no on amendment number 2 doesn't stop the car; it just kicks the driver out of his seat.
Yeah, that's a great and terrifying image, but you're absolutely right.
Does the Pelican Institute have any takes on the other 3 amendments that are out there?
Yeah, we're recommending a yes vote on 1, 2, and 4. We don't have a formal opinion on number 3, but there's lots of opportunity here across the board.
And before we get you out of here, today is the 14th of March, so we are 17 days away from Solution Summit.
Absolutely. You're going to be there. It's going to be great fun at the Hilton in downtown Baton Rouge. We'll announce some of the speakers starting on Monday, but a great opportunity, April 1st. Registration, we still have some spots open. We do expect it to sell out this year. So you can go to pelicanpolicy.org and click on that Get Involved button to find all the details on the Solution Summit on April 1st.
I can't wait, man. It's like and I know the audience has heard me say this a billion times, but I go from Washington Mardi Gras to Lobby's annual meeting to y'all Solution Summit, and then I'm ready for the legislative session on every front. Like there's nothing I don't know at that point.
Well, and it's kind of like Rocky running up the steps of the museum, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's kind of getting pumped up and ready to go.
Absolutely. Hey, before I get you out of here, I know you you live in Uptown New Orleans. You'll be out in Metairie on Sunday?
I'm not sure if I'm going to make it or not, but
Argus rolls at 10, and then we march right after that.
All right. Well, I got to come and see you then.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Come on out, man. We'll see you on Sunday.
Sounds great. I appreciate you.
He is Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute. Appreciate you too, man. We'll talk soon.